Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special program of celebration of Mohanji's birthday. In the next couple of days, you will have joy and opportunity to, to watch presentation of various Mohanji's platform that all have one mutual goal, and that is adding value to society. My name is Sanja. I'm from Serbia. I'm Mohanji Acharya. And today I have this enjoyment of gathering with three Mohanji Acharyas who dedicated their life to serving humanity. Today we have with us Subhasree Thottungal, representing Mohanji UK. Hello, Subhasree. But we will also have a pleasure hearing from Subhasree some other interesting projects that are reaching countries that ACT Foundation or Ammucare didn't have opportunity to reach. So this is going to be very interesting to hear. Thanks for joining. Also, we have Preeti Duggal. Hello, Preeti. Preeti will speak about Ammucare. Hello, Preeti. It's such a pleasure having you today. We will hear from Preeti how...
Same here, Sanja.
We will hear how everything started in Ammucare in India and how everything followed with ACT Foundation. Sean will speak from South Africa. Hello, Sean. It's a pleasure to have you. Sjarn is representative of ACT Foundation South Africa, and she is involved in so many activities. I'm so happy that today we will have a pleasure to speak with you on a topic of social transformation through personal transformations. So basically, if any of you have any kind of doubt that one individual or just a small group of people are not able to bring significant impact to the world, I'm sure that after our conversation today and after sharing our personal experiences with transforming our life through charity activities and through serving to humanity, you will maybe change your mind. Just shortly, for all of you who maybe are not familiar with Mohanji's organizations that are dedicated to charity activities, in 2003, Mohanji founded Ammucare Foundation, Ammucare Charitable Trust. And this happened 3 years after he tragically lost his daughter in a road accident. This is how, with his personal transformation, when Mohanji decided to transform his personal loss that brought a tremendous sorrow, he decided actually to dedicate his life and serve the humanity. And this is how everything started in India. Few years after that, this fund of serving humanity and having faith that all people in the world deserve to have enough food, enough shelter, medicaments, empowerment, all kind of things that we all deserve the same. Ammucare transformed to ACT Foundation, and ACT Foundation was founded also by Mohanji in UK, in South Africa, and US. So today we'll hear a little bit about ACT Foundation, Ammucare, and Subhasree will speak about so many other charity activities that are spreading all over the world. I would like to start with Preeti because now we have opportunity to hear directly from her how everything started in India in 2003. So Preeti, I would be happy if you can share some of the things because not so many people can believe that organization or platforms that are serving humanity with such a great reach can actually survive without regular funds, without even the office, and especially in countries like India, for instance. Would you like to share with us how everything started?
Yes, Sanja, thank you very much. I welcome all of you to be a part of this session because this session, I think, for all four of us is very, very close to our hearts because this platform, which is known as Ammucare or ACT Foundation, was provided to us by Mohanji, who's our beloved guru. And it started, as Sanja mentioned, in 2003 after the tragic death of his daughter in her name, Ammu. Ammucare was founded. And his father was the first president of Ammucare, and they started with serving food to the hungry. and how it spread wide. Like it is said that when you have a vision and a commitment towards something in life, nothing in this world can stop you, because you have that commitment, you have that honesty to do things in life. And that is how it bloomed into an not just an organization but a movement in India. Till date we have touched about 800,000 souls, which is just humans. I'm not numbered the other souls as we talk about. And the most beautiful part about this whole journey is that, as you mentioned, that we have not had any fundings from the corporates or anything on that level. It's all been donation based, because people saw the volunteers working hard, honestly, with lot of commitment, and they saw that love and care coming through us into the world, into the society, and how it was transforming so many lives because of it. And people came forward and funded for various projects that we have done in so far. Like I said, we started with feeding the poor, feeding the needy, and slowly it turned into wherever there was a need to be helped, we were always there. Our volunteers were always ready within 24 hours to reach there. And not just that, but we have had angans, which are small spaces where we are teaching children. So our basic funda has been that we should not just focus on one part of the society, but a total transformation for souls as such, I would say. So where it came to disaster management or shelter or hunger or women empowerment or old age homes, we have had our volunteers working day and night tirelessly. And the most beautiful part is that there has been never shortage of anything. As Mohanji always says, that you take one step and the divine takes 100 steps with you. So as our volunteers were always ready to serve, we just saw that everything just was put together into it. Like I remember in 2013 when I joined this movement, and I was so inspired by the work that our volunteers were doing in Delhi. And I got this opportunity to attend a concert that was happening for collecting money for our programs. And I could actually feel in my heart how much selflessly everybody, tirelessly everybody was working to get every penny saved and every penny that could go to the mission. And that really inspired me. And when I came back to Bangalore, I started our daily like monthly services here. And the most beautiful part is that it really was changing something within me. I was feeling as my life had become more purposeful with it, when it was not that I was feeling, oh, I have enough that see I can serve others. It was like, thank you that you have given me an opportunity that I can serve you, because if you weren't there, I would never get this opportunity of serving and feeling this happiness in my heart. And I remember in couple of years when we were going to various places, we went to this home which was for discarded children. Like they were all disabled, completely disabled children. There were about 80 girls. And I had tears in my eyes when I saw there was one little girl. She was like an angel. Her name was Ammu. I couldn't believe it. That very moment I messaged Mohanji and said, Mohanji, I met Ammu today. He said, I know she was there. And those children, they couldn't speak. They could not convey anything to us. They were girls from the age of few couple of months to about 18 years. But initially when we went, it was heart wrenching to see the condition of these girls and how their parents and families had abandoned them. And there was this missionary which had collected them, and they were taking care of these children. But as we started connecting with them, we just felt how beautiful it is to connect them without any voice, without any language, or without any other ways of communication. The only communication we had with them was from the heart, the love that flowed from our heart to theirs and theirs to us. So these have been so transforming for me. And that was a thought that, see, we are so blessed in all our lives. We are just talking about we lack this, we lack that in our lives. But when we see such things also in the society, we understand how blessed we are. And I always thank Mohanji for this, for showing us this, that never look at the empty glass in your life, always look at the glass which is full, because we are so blessed to have that all in our life. So whenever you feel low and you feel, oh, this is something that I wish I could have in my life, and why me am I suffering, I always feel that no, we are not suffering. We are much more blessed and graced by the master, that we are going through this. And Ammucare has been such a platform. Like we have about 6 angans. Angan is like a play, like a school, makeshift school, where various children from slums whose parents can't afford education, a basic education for their children. So we give them nutritious food, we give them education, we give them mannerism. And as they keep going, we are empowering their families, their daughters, their mothers to get some livelihood for themselves, so that at least they are not dependent on their husbands or dependent on others for their living, and their standard of living increases, gets better. Similarly, we have gone to these old age homes. You must have known we are one of the biggest projects in Arunachala, Tiruvannamalai, where the old age home is coming up for all the sadhus and abandoned old people who have been abandoned by their parents, by their families, and they were living on the roads in a very, very worse kind of conditions. And Mohanji got them together, and there is a guy who's serving them. Then we have regular medical camps for them, as well as in slum areas for ladies. We have men physical hygiene programs. We have women empowerment, as I already told you. Then disaster management is on a big way coming up with the Ammucare, where we have already worked in many disasters like the tsunamis and the earthquakes and all those times. And floods, definitely, like our volunteers day and night worked to uplift the people who were stranded in water, in floods, in like in deserts, like where there was droughts and they could not even have a glass of water. I remember a place, a couple of villages in Pune. Near Pune, there was this, about 100 kilometers from Pune, there was about 3 or 4 villages which we adopted. And there was not even a glass of water. All the youngsters had left except for animals and old people in the village, because there was nothing to eat. They were just eating like shrubs and some wild grass or something. And it was so heart wrenching to see that just one glass of water was such a big, like a blessing for them to have. So that way we have touched so many lives, even in animal shelters. Like we are serving about 1200 breads every day. We have a kitchen which serves 1200 breads for stranded animals who have been abandoned on the roads, and they have been like met with accidents, they have fractured legs or some kind of a disease or something. So we are also serving those souls which are not humans but as precious as humans, of course. And because Monji says that it doesn't matter how you look and what you are, what matters is souls. And now we are coming up with tree plantation programs, where we will be planting trees across the cities, across the hills, so that our environment can also be saved. So if you see, in Ammucare has actually worked in that level, that we have touched every part of the society, so that we can make a change in somebody's lives.
Wow, thank you so much, Preeti. This is really impressive. And I couldn't notice that you actually have a completely holistic approach to changing society. And it's not just that you are providing a material support for people who really need this, for people who really couldn't survive without this help, but actually you're giving them something even more significant, and that's hope and being dignified, like feeling like a normal human being, even though maybe you don't have such a fortunate circumstances in your life. And thank you so much for explaining what is Kangen, because usually most of the people from Europe are not familiar. And even a few Mohanji Acharyas and volunteers who visited India last year, we were so grateful to you and your team because you arranged for us. We had kind of intercultural exchange within our teams, and we visited Mohanji Kangan centers, and we were really touched how those people already know all of you, and what they really show and displayed, not just that they're grateful for those sweets or for bread that you mentioned, for the cake, they were really grateful for the time, for the attention that volunteers are giving. So I think this is really amazing, and I think we can learn a lot from your
Sana,
example.
I would just like to add that even in these hard times last year during COVID, when everything was locked down and there was nothing on the roads, like people were stranded on the roads, especially the laborers whose factories and all who had come into the cities and working, and they couldn't reach villages on time. We have actually served about 182,000 people during COVID from March till July.
So those difficult moments are actually reminding us that is exactly a moment where we should serve more. Thank you so much, Preeti. And I think that even Sjarn, we spoke once, and I visited South Africa, and I was really, really happy and grateful because in Europe, I mean, in Southeastern Europe, Balkan, we have this issue with the law, especially in my country, in Serbia, we can't serve cooked food, cooked meal. And there is something really, really special about that. So I got this opportunity, and that's why I met Sjarn and her team. And I was really impressed with how many various activities you guys have in South Africa. Sjarn, would you like to present at least some of them and to share how you are reaching so many people from various vulnerable groups and how you are changing their lives?
Thank you, Sanja. Yes, my journey with ACT Foundation started in 2015, and it's been really a journey of transformation within myself and also the people around me and the lives that have been touched through the work that ACT Foundation does. So Sanja, as you experience, South Africa is quite different because we are allowed to actually cook food and serve in the communities. And I think this is what makes ACT very special in South Africa, because we are very hands-on, we are grassroots. And what's most important, and I think this is one of the core strengths that we have for ACT Foundation, is that we literally put food directly into people's hands. It is going immediately to people in need. We don't use any third parties. We don't hand over any of the donations. It goes straight to where it is needed on the ground. So very much community work is a big part of what we do. And we're very lucky that we can literally just cook and go out and serve on the ground wherever it is needed. So to give you some idea of the projects that are happening around the country, we have our flagship Shumbashaba, and every Saturday 150 to 250 children come down every Saturday for lunch. They literally walk for almost half an hour to an hour just to get to the venue, and they are served lunch there. It's a beautiful environment. They can run around, play games and have fun. And it's just such a loving, caring environment that has been created at Shumbashaba. And this is where my journey started with ACT Foundation. So the first time Melissa got me involved to come through and to serve at ACT, something unusual happened within me. And in that process of volunteering, of handing food over, I experienced this shift. It was as though I became empty. It literally was just an energy flowing through me. And in this, there was like a silence and a beautiful connecting with the children and just seeing them truly as they are, this incredible light that shines out of them. And, you know, we judge so quickly. A majority of people will see somebody on the side of the road who's in tatters, who's dirty, who's begging, and literally you roll your car window up and you just drive on and you never look at these people. So this is a big aspect of Seva is that immediate contact that you're making with people and really seeing them on a soul level. You get to see the light that shines in them. And this has been such a beautiful, heartwarming experience for me, is this connecting and just seeing everybody as humanity, and we are all one. And this is something which volunteering really, it brings this beautiful grace. It's, you become like a conduit for this grace to flow through you. And over the last 6 years, I have seen it playing out in my life time and again. And the funny thing is, at the time, you don't think about it. You just go out there, you do the saver, and it's hard work. For anybody who's done volunteering, you've got to go do the shopping, you've got to do the preparation, cooking the food, and then you've got to go and deliver it at the venue and hand it out to people. So there's nothing glamorous about it. And you do it under all conditions, never mind whether it's cold or raining, sun, heat, winter. You know, we just carry on, because for people out there in need, they live with the elements the whole time, especially with homeless people or people living in squatter camps or with very poor shelters. They living completely exposed to the elements, and this is their life. So we kind of like put everything aside and we just keep going, even though we'd rather just stay warm at home or sit under the air conditioner. So for me, it's kind of like become, I would say, like a sadhana. There's an element of tapasya because you're working hard to do this. But the beauty of it is it becomes so much part of your life, your daily activities. And I always find if I haven't prepared or arranged to do some act saver, it feels like something's missing in my life. There's literally, okay, like what's wrong? Oh, I need to go and do saver. So it's genuinely become, I would say, a lifestyle. There is just this internal motivation which comes from the heart. And as I said, it's just that beautiful experience of grace and that expansion of the heart and the absolute joy that it brings to one. And it's unconditional because genuinely you are faced with all walks of life. And Sanja, I'm sure you'll understand the conditions in South Africa. We are exposed to dangers. It's not straightforward like other countries. To give you an idea, we had a situation during lockdown where lots of grocery packets had been arranged to hand out, and hundreds of people came to collect it. And we ran out of packets and more people had come, and they got very angry, unfortunately, because they'd come and there was no food. And sadly, they threatened to burn the farm down. So there's definitely this element of danger doing Saver here. It's going into really poor areas where crime is quite prevalent, and it literally becomes something where you don't consider your personal safety. You go in regardless, no matter how difficult the communities are that you're working in, or the more poverty-stricken areas in the cities. One tends to not think about these issues because the imperative is really just to help those in need. So yeah, it brings so many different dynamics up in doing Saver, and you just learn to be completely unconditional. And for me, this process has been transformative. It's really touched my heart and it's opened up my life to, I would say, incredible joy and inner bliss. And it's not because you have any expectation. These are things that just come naturally as part of the process. And what's become important in South Africa is to grow ACT, to get more people involved, to speak to people, to explain to them what ACT is doing, how we reach out into the community. And as we touched on it, Preeti also mentioned, ACT is self-funded. So there's this incredible volunteer base who donate, who give ingredients, who give their time, their effort, and their energy. And what we've done is we've literally built up new satellite groups throughout the country, just to generate interest, to get more people involved, and for them to share the grace of Savor as well. So that's very much part of the work that we are doing in South Africa. So it's basically just to get people motivated. And I have to admit, there's a little secret that happens when you do Savor, but I'm not going to tell you what the secret is. I'd rather invite you and invite everybody to join, to participate, to take part of Savor, and you will look back. And even if it's just a year later, you'll see the transformation and you'll see the secret that happens when you actually volunteer and help those less needy. So in my life, about 30 years ago, one of the first jobs that I started was for an educational company. And we worked also very much grassroots in the communities, and it was very hands-on as well. And I left that company after 2 years. But what was wonderful was to come back to ACT Foundation. And it felt like my life had come full circle, that once again, I had the opportunity to serve and to help those less fortunate and to reach out in the community. What I have noticed is through the years, I've come into contact where people have a disregard for those that are in need. They tend to look down upon them. They can be demeaning. There's absolutely this disconnect for people that are less fortunate. And at some points, I was quite horrified at the very callous and very cold viewpoint. There was actually one organization that I worked for, and this complete disconnect of not actually doing anything, even though they were a volunteer organization. They just weren't prepared to go out into the community and simply help. And sadly, this is an attitude that a lot of people do have. And even in my own personal life, I've literally had my own family sometimes fighting with me and saying, why am I doing this? And trying to explain to them the benefits, the grace. That's a whole subject on its own, to go into how much benefit it actually gives to do this for your family. So your family might not be able to do it, but by you doing it, there's another grace factor that just kicks in there as well. So I think personally, in terms of my transformation, it has just opened me up from somebody who's never really had much to say or been one to really speak out or be out there or in the spotlight or anything like that. It has really, I think, opened up my voice to speak out for those in need. And this has kind of translated by really getting involved with people, getting groups also to take part. And then also, I always laugh. Normally people travel and they go on holiday to relax and to enjoy themselves. So what I found has been happening is when I travel overseas, I end up doing Savor. And it's just become so ingrained. And I've had such beautiful experiences, like going into foreign countries, meeting strange people, and literally the response when people actually see what you are doing, they look at your example, and people came up to me and they offered to participate. And eventually we had like little groups going out, and everybody would buy some fruit, and we would get into a tuk-tuk and go out and hand out fruit. And it was very touching. And this was from people all over the world. And definitely something that I will include in all my future holidays, and make Savor very much a part of that experience as well. So, I just feel in this day and age, especially with the pandemic, the COVID, and the really tough economic times that people are going through, this really has become apparent. The need is great. So when we go out, we see it more and more in society. Whereas we would deal with a certain number of homeless people, the numbers have grown. The problem is not going away. It is becoming more intense. People are losing their jobs. Homes are affected. Children are coming to school, having to study, and they haven't had breakfast. They don't have lunch. They're going home and there's no supper in the home, or there's child-run households. So, we really need to get motivated and grow and widen our reach and really become visible and get people to participate. So we work in many, many different areas, and also dealing with AIDS orphans, grandmothers and grandfathers looking after children, just to give you some idea of what is out there. But I'd just like to thank you, Sanja, for this beautiful platform, and Mohanji for creating Ammucare and ACT Foundation. And I'd love to invite everybody to participate and enjoy the grace of Seva. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anne. This was really, really inspiring. And you actually reminded me of something very, very important, since we are speaking about social change. And we can usually hear how it was a saying like, when you come out of home with a tendency to do seva, you should leave your camera at home. I'm sure that all of you hear about this at least once. And we also experienced people telling us, so like, why are you putting, your picture? If you want to, have some good deed or to help someone, why do you need to brag about that? Why do you need to share the pictures? But actually, you just reminded me, Sean, when you were speaking about all the activities you do in South Africa. I just remember about the event. I think we were, I can't remember, it was some auspicious date or maybe even Mohanji's birthday, but we actually prepared the sandwiches and we went to one very poor neighborhood and we were giving this food to people. And I remember how people who were working in the store, they were actually surprised seeing something like this happening in this dangerous neighborhood. And they were inspired by this example. So they decided to buy, I don't know, maybe 20 bottles of juices, and they joined us in sharing this. And also when I got home from South Africa, I was sharing all the pictures from Shumba Shaba, from Durban, with all these examples of how I joined your team. And what happened actually, lots of people here in Serbia from Novi Sad, they were contacting me. They never volunteered before, but just seeing pictures of having this experience, giving food to someone. And because in Shumba Shaba, you can really see that those children, they don't even have like decent clothes. So they're really, really poor. As you said, they don't even have one cooked meal per day. So you're really making a significant difference. So my point here is actually visibility when it comes to humanitarian work is really, really important. And of course, we don't want to take the pride when we are helping someone, but just by sharing that, even though maybe you don't have a job, or maybe you're going through a divorce, or maybe someone is sick in your family, and you're still giving your time, your energy, your skills to doing something significant for society, it can inspire others. So we are coming to Subhasree, and I must share that I actually met Subhasree in Serbia when she joined one of the activities where UK ACT team helped us with the, well, we were actually helping one shelter for animals, and Subhasree joined, and I think everyone were amazed by her and her energy and beauty, and asking like, who is this lady, and did she came to visit Serbia only to do the seva. So Subhasree, I'm happy to have you here today. And even though you're representing ACT UK, that is very, very active all over the world, and I read the global report, and if you guys haven't read the global report about ACT Foundation or Ammucare, you can do it at all our social media accounts. But what is very interesting is that Subhasree agreed to share with us today even about some projects that are we are not so familiar, because some countries are not so easy to reach. And there are countries with the serious problems and challenges. And Subhasree, thanks to you and your team, you even succeeded to reach those countries. So please, we would be really, really grateful to hear from you and from the first hand how that looks.
Thank you, Sanja. Thank you. Actually, what you pointed out is the being a global family. So this is Mohanji's global family. we may be known as different names as Ammucare, Act Foundation, UK, South Africa, USA, but the essence of being one single family, of Mohanji, that is what that brings this essence, the magic in all this seva activity that's happening. Today, what we are talking, I mean, there is, we will take hours and hours to talk about the activities that's happening all over the world. But today we are talking about how, like my personal or our personal transformation through this selfless service activities has also witnessed us to see the social transformation that happened. So when I joined, when I connected to Mohanji first, my first step into towards the path of transformation was through selfless service. I must say that before that, even though I was blessed with a good life, serving people, I never took an active step in that. My first step was when I was very, I think it's a blessed opportunity I was given to join the ACT UK team. And that, I think that was the life changing 360-degree turn in my life, I must say, because from there, as you said, volunteering for people, doing selfless service activities, it's not for other people. I was not serving other people, I was only serving myself. Through that, through karma yoga, as we know, as known as, I was getting purified myself. It was a stepping stone, day by day. And when I look back these 4 5 years, I feel, my life is changed. Now, ACT UK, of course, as you mentioned, not just ACT UK, I mean, all these acts and Ammucare we see, they're growing, and they helping each other, and there is no barrier. We are actually beyond boundaries. What I'm going to share today, especially, is about two countries. Actually, I'm going to talk about Philippines and Bangladesh. We do not have a registered ACT Foundation there yet. They're new countries, but the work that is happening is phenomenal, really phenomenal activities. And this is only happening because we have pure souls there. The people on the ground have this commitment, as this conviction, and they know the joy of serving people, and it only happens with that. And surprisingly, none of them have even met Mohanji once physically. So you can imagine how Mohanji, through his presence, without presence, is transforming the entire world. One example which is really touching my heart, when I traveled to Philippines towards the end of 2019, and I met one man who was very actively, we had a lot of activity there, going to the local villages to serve people, and this man was serving really actively. And then the lead of the team, Vivi, she told me his story. This person was actually a prisoner. He was serving in a jail for some crime that he had done. When a group of VV and all, they were going and doing Mohanji's meditation in that prisons, and he got so much transformed just by going through the prison, going through the meditation, and miraculously he got a quick, he got released. The day when he got released, he first straight away came to Vivi's place and said that I would like to join your seva team, and I would like to serve the people. So imagine, from a prisoner to turning into that one of the most active seva person in Philippines. This particular small island called Rojas City, it's a coastal area. Of course, it's a small island. A lot of underprivileged coastal colonies are there. End of 2019, just after I returned from Philippines, on the day of Christmas, Philippines was struck with a very bad cyclone, and all those areas, all those coastal areas, were completely wiped up. Their houses are broken. So when we got the news, the photos, it was really heartbreaking. The entire Mohanji global family reached out. We people donated, and somehow miraculously we made sure that the money reached Vivi and the team, and we generated much more than we actually needed. And within a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, all their houses were rebuilt. So all those coastal colony people who were kind of displaced were back, they had roof on their head. That's the magic that Mohanji played. You do not need any organization, you do not need any corporate donation. You need only people who have that purity in hand, in their heart, and Mohanji did the magic. So that was one thing I was completely touched by it. And then you see that day by day, Mohanji Philippines team, they keep on adopting colonies after colonies, villages after villages. Today they are supporting 11 villages. And I saw a photo a couple of days back where they have this 600 little children, 600 little children who are being fed by the team constantly, continuously. They're being given clothes, they're being given study materials. The mothers of those children in this coastal area have been taught to do hydroponic farming. So the children are being taught yoga. So also fun time during the New Year. They were given toys and whatever they like. So it was like the way the team. It may be a small team, but drops by drops makes the ocean. So each person comes within the country from outside the global family. And today, if we see Philippines, when you see those faces, I will share some pictures later. The innocence, the joy in those children's face. I must say, nothing is more important than that. And to serve, to see that, is just invaluable, I must say. And similar, another example I would give is in Bangladesh. We have only one Mohanji Acharya, Tara, who incidentally from UK. She lives in UK, but she's originally from Bangladesh. And Bangladesh is a Muslim country, as we know. She spread the message, Mohanji's message of non-violence. So whenever she goes to Bangladesh, she ensures that she, serves vegan or vegetarian food to people there, which is not easy to, to in a country with some completely different belief and faith. Though we have nothing to do with religious, it's just humanitarian. It's just about understanding people's need and giving food to the people who are hungry. And Tara did not get put off. She, somehow tradition brought help to her, and she kept continuing her feeding people, feeding children. And today, while she is still living in UK, there is regular feeding activity happening in Bangladesh. So it's amazing to see that how through, like Mohanji said, when he started Ammucare, I read he was saying that somebody asked, what are you giving to Ammucare? What are you investing in it? Mohanji said, I'm investing myself. I think this is a key message for each one of us, that we give ourselves completely and the rest will be done. And that's what we see in Philippines. That's what we see in Bangladesh. That's what we see in Peru. I mean, so many other countries that's happening, that reaching out to each other. And there's also a very nice thing that I would like to share. A couple of months back, when there was a big festival of Diwali, a few children came up in UK. There are about 40 children. They're singing to music, Indian classical music. They come up to do a fundraising for a very, very special project in South Africa. This is a project about abandoned children, abandoned babies. Babies are thrown on the road, and there's a group who are picking up these children and giving shelter and food. So when we told these stories, all these 40 little children who are singing song, they said, we will sing song and we'll raise fund. And from there, we got enormous amount of money from the effort of these little children, which went towards UK, sent to South Africa. So what these stories don't come up in any write up or anything like that, but these are the stories that from the ground, that we all know that how it is purifying ourselves, it is transforming ourselves, and we reflect that to the entire society. So I feel really, really proud and so blessed to be part of this such a beautiful platform that Mohanji has given us. There's no limit of countries, boundaries, religion, nothing at all. And like as you said, Sanya, when I went to, actually I've been to twice to Serbia, and both the times being there on the ground with the people, and this dog shelter as well, it's amazing. So wherever you go, you see family, you don't see different faces. So I'm so thankful to Mohanji that he's transformed my life through all these activities, and transforming constantly many other lives. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Subhasree. I'm really under the impression of this story, and I'm really, really deeply touched. I like how you pointed out that it's not religion or culture, or at the end, neither the spirituality, because when Mohanji says, I like charity, but I don't do charity, I do humanity. And humanity understands each and every, not just human, but every species, all species understand when you are compassionate, kind, and when you are expression of unconditional love. And I'm so grateful that you mentioned the examples that transformed either your life, either life around people around you. I would like to say that even though like I'm almost 40 now, I just realized within serving in ACT Foundation, I realized only a few years ago that I was still carrying this impression, because my parents were born with physical disability, with cerebral palsy. And when I was young, in my childhood, I was going through bullying, and children would tease me. They would imitate how my parents walk. And I felt powerless. I was angry and sad, and I thought that my worth is just not the same like children or people around me. And even though I was already adult and even helping others, serving, doing coaching, all kind of things, you name it, but it was only within activities and serving within ACT Foundation. I just realized a few years ago when we were visiting in Subotica, the city where I was born, we were visiting one non-profit organization, and it's actually association for people who have children and adults who have cerebral palsy. And my parents were actually one of the founders many years ago. So when I went there, my mom was there, and so many people, even the lady who is the president, and she knew my father, and we brought their diapers, fruits, and clay, because they're very creative and they like to create, they like to make all kind of things with natural materials. And we spent a whole day there, our whole Serbian team, and they were so touched. They were speaking about my parents. I could see how my mom was very proud. And this lady who is the president, she mentioned like, oh, if your father could see you, he would be very, very proud. And I just feel like in that particular moment, I felt how I released all of other baggage that I was handling all of these years, because that was the moment when I realized, okay, this is just some impressions from the past, and it's not who I am, because we have this freedom to choose who we are going to be. It's not our story from the past that can mark us for the whole life. So all the people all around the world can be inspired with stories from ACT Foundation, Ammucare, and all other platforms. They can see what we are doing, and even the stories about the prisoner. And we also have a lady who went to prison, and now she's one of the most active volunteers. It's a very important and powerful message that we can choose to change, we can embrace it, and then we can together create a significant impact in the society. So that's something what I wanted to share. And before we call it off, I just wanted to ask, is there anything that someone would like to say? Preeti, maybe.
Yes, Sanya, I would just like to add this, that as all of you said, that, and specifically Subhasree spoke about that, hunger and poverty and need doesn't see any religion, doesn't see where you come from, what race you belong, which country you come from. Hunger is hunger for every soul. be it animal or a human being. And that is what has been taught to us by Mohanji, that don't discriminate amongst the souls. Everybody is just the same. I would like to just share one little incident, how these animals react to such love and compassionate gesture. I remember in 2019, I had this privilege of traveling with Mohanji to Delhi, and we had gone to this animal shelter where I spoke that we are serving them regularly. And these animals are abandoned on the roads. They are either old or they are hurt by accidents. In India, you must have seen they are stray animals lot, and it's like very difficult for them to. And this home for shelter for these animals has huge amount of animals, from camels and elephants and horses to birds and little monkeys and ducks and fish, all kinds of animals. And we had thought that that day we will serve these animals, and we had the privilege that Mohanji and Neela, his daughter, accompanied us for this seva. And it was so beautiful to see how these animals were communicating with Mohanji and the entire group, because it was just a gesture of love and compassion that they were feeling, being served by them. It is not only just hunger and need, it's all about being acknowledged, being about being loved, being about being cared. So there are so many people, so many in the world who do these sevas, as like Shan said. But the only thing that I feel that ACT Foundation or Ammucare or even Mohanji Foundation, what makes them unique is the love and compassion. It's with respect and honor that we serve. It's not that, oh, I have something superior in my life, that is why I do that. I have seen all of you working on these levels. Even Shan, I've seen how she beautifully, whenever she comes to India, she does her seva in her way. I saw you, of course, Subhasree also does in her own way. So that is the beauty of it. So it's not through just the food or shelter or all these things. These are provided with so many NGOs, government officials, they are provided. But what they lack is the love and the connect that you spoke about. So that is something which is very, I think, unique between us, that we never have considered any differentiation between the souls. For us, whosoever comes in front is an aspect of God in front of us. And that is how we serve them. And I'm really, as Subhasree said, I'm really thankful to Mohanji for giving us this platform to transform ourselves, and not just ourselves, our coming generations. When I see here also, when children, like initially they were never bothered about anything, but now it's like, okay, if they have some books which they have overgrown, or they have some clothes which they have overgrown and they are in good condition, they would always say that we can give it to some children who need them, rather than not being responsible as citizens. So it's not that we are transforming ourselves, but we are actually transforming the whole society.
Yeah, thank you very much, Preeti. I think this is a very important point because you just explained how one of the most significant transformations that happened for all of us is that everything that we spoke about today became the part of our lifestyle. So it's completely internalized. It became a part of our life. It's not something that I will wear my ACT t-shirt today and now within the next few hours I'll just do the charity, because it's not about charity. It's about being human and express compassion, kindness, and unconditional love. So
Yes.
thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you because thanks to your stories and everything that you shared today, I'm sure that we will touch many hearts worldwide.
Of
Thank
course,
you.
if we
Thank
have
you.
a
Thank you.
pure heart and we have a commitment to the mission, we will definitely be able to reach much more than what we have still. Thank you, Sanya, for
Absolutely.
this beautiful.
Just on a last note, because we are having this discussion especially to celebrate Mohanji's birthday. And we are seeing that how Mohanji has, through his life, he's living for the world. And that's why we say this caption as I live for the world. And all this platform that we are able to enjoy today, we are able to purify today, it's only for this one man that we see, Mohanji. So all our collective thank you, gratitude to Mohanji for giving us this platform. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Mohanji, and thank you all the volunteers across the globe who are working selflessly for this mission to make this society, this world a better place for everybody. And thank you, Sanja, for giving us this opportunity. I'm really thankful to Subhasree as well as Sjarn for sharing their stories as well. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Everyone.
ladies. Thank you, everyone. We could see today how one individual transformation that came from Mohanji and strong and clear intention to create a positive impact in the world can transform thousands of lives.
Yes.
Enjoy the other programs as well and wish you a nice weekend ahead. Jai
Thank you.
Mohanji.
Jai
Thank you.
Mohanji.
Jai Mohanji.